welcome to the Red Half of Sheffield preview pod. Back again to preview another match in what seems to be a never-ending string of fixtures. This week, for some reason, the FA decided it was a great idea to put the FA Cup third round starting on Thursday. So, at the hands of, it seems like we just did a preview about, 2 weeks ago, Sai, we're going to preview Sheffield United versus Cardiff in the FA Cup third round. And I'm joined again by Sai. Sai, how are you doing on this early afternoon, late evening in the UK?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Thank you for having me back. I appreciate it. Yeah, it doesn't feel like long we were talking about the league game, does it?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, then the FA Cup was, or the FA decided to draw us again in an FA Cup tie, and I don't think probably either one of the sides really want to be in it because what is in the FA Cup aside from maybe making a halfway decent run and then getting knocked out by an inevitable top six side. Um, so let's get into it. Talk about the result yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, the last three games that we've played have been a massive, massive improvement. Um, I think there was a lot of criticism and fair criticism of the attitude of some of the players and whether they were going to be up for the fight, regardless of how good they may be on at football on their best day. It was whether they had the kind of balls and the fight to go and earn the right to play football, because that's ultimately, for anyone who's just watched Manchester United versus Liverpool this afternoon, like those Liverpool players turned up, just thought they were going to walk it, and it doesn't matter who you are. If you turn up to a football match like that and you don't earn the right to play football first and foremost, you're going to come unstuck. So Oxford, we played Boxing Day, and it was 3-2, but it wasn't a 3-2 game. We scored a couple of late consolations. We were real poor, and that was a kind of reoccurring theme. There's been a few of those through the season, but particularly in the run up to Christmas, there was several where the attitude and the application was not good enough. But then we had New Year's Day was excellent. We beat Watford away, and then we drew with Coventry, and we were very, very unlucky against Coventry because we were fully in control of the game. We were winning. We had a bit of an error at the back, which lets them equalise, but you still thought we looked by far the better team. And then they sent Callum Robinson off, who's obviously our main goal scorer. I think 2 minutes, or straight after the goals, 2 minutes into the second half. And then it becomes a different game because you're just trying to hold on for a draw with maybe a bit of a lucky chance or whatever. But so we ended up drawing that, but it was still a very good performance. And again, the thing which stuck out was the attitude of the players, regardless of whether the football was good, which at times it was in both games. It was the attitude was better. And then again yesterday, Middlesbrough is a very, very tough place to go. And they play good football. They got a good young manager, and they've got one or two exceptional players. And it was a difficult game, and we dug in. We went 1-0 down, and you kind of worried. It was 10 minutes gone, and those two two of the three really good players they've got were involved in the goal, and you sort of thought, oh, here we go. This could be painful. And we scored quite quickly afterwards, and we had a couple of chances as well. We had one chance right at the end to pinch it, just went wide. But again, it was the fight, the attitude, the application of the players was excellent. And I think the manager, regardless of people's opinions of his experience and whether he should or shouldn't have been given the job till the end of the season, he's getting something out of the players. He's made a few tweaks, and the last three games we do look like more like what I expected this season rather than what we've seen.
Yeah, well, that's certainly improvement from when we previewed our league match before Christmas. With that being said, is this a game that I know Sheffield United probably don't want to play this? They're not going to come out openly and say that. Is this a game that Cardiff want to play, or is this a this is one of those deals where it's a cup? We're not really concerned about it. We're more concerned about the league in 2 weeks, and why the hell's it on a Thursday night when it should be on a Saturday at 3 p.m. kickoff or just not played at all.
Yeah, it's a weird one. They're just trying to fit all the fixtures in, I guess. But I know, like, there's two ways to look. The two ways that I look at it is it's probably a game which we don't want. We want to concentrate on making sure we're not in that relegation battle at the end of the season. But equally, a lot of Cardiff fans have been asking for the young players to be given a chance, particularly when things have been going bad recently. You kind of the opinion, well, I'd rather see these homegrown players who were very highly rated and excited, exciting the fans, rather than just seeing the same players not really put a shift in. Obviously, that's changed a little bit recently, but I think what it can be is an opportunity to give a lot of the players who've played all the way through Christmas a break. And what you can do is you can have a look at some of those young players that people have been crying out for. Like Cardiff have got a group of players in their under 21s and their under 18s, which make up the majority of the Welsh teams at that age group. And for instance, there's a centre back who plays in the under 21s who's, I think, just turned 18, but he's the captain of the under 21s. That he's that good. And there's a couple of others. Some of them have gone on loan, but there's plenty of talent there, so it's a good opportunity to see them in a full professional game. I think there'll be a mix of some squad players as well, but then part of me does wonder whether he will try and keep a bit of momentum with the players that he's played for the last couple of games. I'm kind of stuck in the middle if you know what he'll do, but I would like to see a majority sort of young players and then slip in a couple of the players who haven't had much game time. I'm not really fussed.
I'm the same. I'm the same with Sheffield United. Rotate. As we mentioned, we had the game prior to Christmas. Then you had Boxing Day. Then you had the one between Boxing Day and the first of the year. Then you had New Year's Day fixtures. So all that fixture congestion and pile up that we all have, we all know about in the festive time of the year. Right here, it doesn't matter the result because all you do is you just extend yourself having one more game probably at the end of, I think it's the end of January is when the fourth round is played. But it's almost just like from a Sheffield United's perspective, just put the kids in there, put a couple of first teamers that haven't been getting as much time, although we're pretty thin, and if you look at our bench, it's all youngsters. Put them in, and then just see where you end up. See where the game goes. Hopefully, it doesn't result in a both of us sound like we don't want to play and we want to play the kids. Hopefully, it doesn't result in a replay, and then we have to go and do a replay in the midweek in a couple of weeks, and that's just more added fixtures that either team doesn't need at the moment. So, I mean, I'm thinking we're going to be a heavily rotated squad, and Wilder has mentioned that in his, hinted at it. He hasn't mentioned that, and I wouldn't be surprised if he surprises everybody and puts out the team that's played through Christmas and New Year's, and then we end up getting further injuries and so on and so forth. But let's move it on to Thursday. How do you think it goes with? Just say that both squads are going to be heavily rotated. How can you pick a winner from a heavily rotated a game where both sides are heavily rotated?
It's difficult, isn't it? I think the thing for me is I worry that Omar Risa with Cardiff, he may go predominantly with the kind of squad players. So we've got a few players back from injury recently and who haven't really played, and then we've got a group of players who've been on the bench, predominantly most of the season. So I can understand the logic in playing those players. I'll be disappointed if he plays those players with some of the guys who've played in the first team, over Christmas. I would pretty much rest everyone,
Yeah.
and then I want to see these youngsters, and I think you're not going to get for Cardiff if they go out with this competition now. This is the last opportunity to rotate in a cup competition for Cardiff. So for me, it's a no-brainer. They absolutely must bring those youngsters in and utilize the squad get everyone fit. So what you want to be able to do is obviously, if we are in a relegation battle or if we go on a bit of a run, is you want to be able to pick from 20, 25 players plus
Yeah.
youngsters and pick your strongest squad every single week.
Yeah.
And we've had a big chunk of the season where we've had a lot of injuries. We've got a bit of momentum in terms of the performances, even if we've, a couple of draws in there. Um, I think for me, it sounds like you guys have got quite a bit of, of injuries and threadbare.
Mhm.
So I think if both teams were to sort of rotate all 11 players, then I'm going to go with the Cardiff win, only because I know how highly rated the young players are at Cardiff, outside of Cardiff, if that
Mhm.
makes sense. Like, I've been lucky
Mhm.
enough to do some stuff with the Welsh FA and Craig Bellamy, and I know within that system, how highly they rate some of these players. So only that really, and obviously a bit of belief and a bit of hope in there as well as a fan,
Yeah.
of course. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Sheffield United are going to win, but they probably will. But
Yeah.
it's
Based
what it
on both of us saying that we're gonna, you know, want squad rotation and don't want another game, it's gonna
is.
be a 0-0 boring game, and we're gonna have to play a replay. And we're gonna be sat here in 2 weeks and be like, why the hell did we do this? And just somebody should have just hit somebody in the box, scored a penalty, win it 1-0, and either one of our sides will be out of the FA Cup. And there's just one. I mean, you do bring up a good point where this is probably until the international breaks, which are in March. This will be your last time to rotate players. So if you don't advance in the cup, you don't have a chance to give your players rest. But in a sense, there's not really anything in it because we're not a top six team in England. And I mean, neither one of us are going to have a fighting chance in hell to get probably. If you advance here, you probably advance maybe one more round to the fourth round and maybe get to the fifth. But other than that, you're probably knocked out. Both of us are probably knocked out anyway because we're probably going to get a harder draw than we got this round. Obviously, this round. Um, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this game plays out and the strategy from both managers going into this game. So that's what I'm probably most looking forward to. I'm not going to be able to watch the match. Um, so yeah, I'm not going to have anything to draw off of after this one. I'll just see the full time result, and be like, oh, that's how it went. It either was a win, a loss, or a draw, and we got a replay. Um, Before we head out of here, Cy, give the people where they can find the podcast, so we can give it a follow and a listen.
Yeah, so Cardiff City World is the kind of YouTube channel and the podcast. It's Cardiff City content 7 days a week. Obviously, a bit of championship content in there as well, both audio and video available of everything. Apart from the vlogs, is the only thing we don't put the audio out of. But and of course, that's owned by Ace Podcast Nation, which is an independent media company, which is owned by me as well. But we do a host of other podcasts and life stories and football content with Rodri Giggs and some other bits and pieces, some men's mental health stuff and live events. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff, Reg, especially coming this year. We've got some exciting stuff coming this year. So I'm very much looking forward to 2025. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, definitely give these guys a follow, and especially if Carter pick up and get out of the bottom half of the table, and as you mentioned, go on a run. Certainly give them a check out. The pod, the vlogs, everything, and yeah, until my next preview pod when I have no idea who the hell we play. Oh yeah, that's right, it's Norwich in the league. I'll be back to preview that. I will leave you with Up the Blades.